pulled into the lot of a place called Mayfield's Best, a hotel near downtown Mayfield, Texas. I was a little nervous checking in because the place only had a 2-star review on Yelp, but it was the only place I could book on such short notice. There was a job convention happening downtown, and I wanted to be close so I could get there early in the morning, but all the hotels downtown were way too expensive for me. Mayfield's Best is what I ended up with. Right away, I knew it was a mistake. It was in an industrial part of town, near a train track, and it appeared a lot of truckers stayed here too because there was a huge lot out back for them to park. Dingy, flickering yellow lights greeted me as I entered the check-in office, where a rather large man with a potbelly helped me get my room keys. He was friendly enough, but the way he grinned at me and wouldn't stop was a little unsettling. I took the elevator up to the 7th floor and took a right to get into my room. Believe it or not, this hotel still used old-fashioned keys for their doors, which I thought was a little weird, but whatever. My room was small, dusty, and painted yellow, a sick-looking cadmium, as if I was in an old hospital or something. And the bed was hard as cement. I shook my head, wondering why I always seemed to pick the worst places to stay at. But it would have to do. I had to get up in 6 hours to get to the convention on time. I quickly ate a TV dinner and watched some news. After brushing my teeth and watching the sink intently for roaches to come crawling out at any second, I flipped the lights off and went to bed. I tossed and turned for what seemed like an hour, but managed to fall asleep, at least for a little bit. I woke up in a daze as a train nearby grounded its gears and honked its horns. It seemed to never stop. I looked out the window and could actually see it in the distance. It was a long one, and it seemed to me to be going like 5 miles per hour. I knew I could never sleep with that going on. I thought maybe the front desk might have an extra pair of earplugs for me, so I got my clothes on and locked up my room to head down there. I was really tired, and everything seemed foggy to me through my blurry eyes. The elevator came and squeaked shut as I got on. It started going down, but its gears and cables were so loud I prayed the thing wouldn't snap on me and send me hurtling downward to my death. Then something odd happened. It stopped on the 5th floor even though I had pressed for the lobby. Was it someone else going down? The doors opened and a red glow came from the hallway outside. It was weird. The lights seemed to be tinted or something. "Hello?" I mustered, shielding my eyes. "Anyone going down?" There was no answer. I pressed for the lobby again, but the door wouldn't close no matter what I did. I decided then that taking the stairs would be better, so I got off and started down the hallway looking for the exit. What a crap hole, I thought to myself. The halls were cadmium yellow here, just like my room, but tinted gruesomely red from the colored lights. Pieces of wallpaper were torn from the wall, and scratch marks were all over like some wild animal had been set loose in the building. Then it hit me. A smell so bad that got me gagging. Rotten eggs mixed with an iron taste that got stuck in my mouth. I started jogging because I didn't want to be there any longer than I had to. But for some reason, I couldn't find the stairs. Was the elevator the only thing going up or down? It couldn't be. That'd be a fire code violation. It got darker, but the red light intensified. It was hard to explain. I stopped to catch my breath, but I wish I hadn't. To my right, it looked like there was a faint cast of a hand coming out of the wall, as if someone was reaching through, but then was covered in plaster. Or maybe it was just my mind playing tricks. I don't know. I ran off before I could decide, and through some miracle finally saw the stairs at the end of the hall. I didn't make it there, though. A death-defying scream came out of room 515 to my right. It was muffled, but distinct, like someone was pounding on the wall for help. I took it to mean someone was in danger. "Hello?" I yelled. "Can you hear me?" The reply was a gut punch. "Help me," the voice moaned. I tried the door, but it was locked. "Hey, who's in there?" I asked. The voice begged me to save them, and in an adrenaline rush, I busted the door open with a good kick. I ran in the room but slipped instantly, sliding across the floor until I hit a wall. I looked at my hands and then I realized what made me fall. Blood was everywhere. On the floor, on the walls, even the ceiling. I had just done a slip and slide through a thick pool of congealed blood. I got up, and there was pounding from inside the wall. "Get me out of here," it begged. "Where are you?" I asked in confusion. "Please," was all it said. Not knowing what else to do, I grabbed a lamp and yelled for the person to watch out. I began slamming the lamp at the wall and peeling back the wood as I did so. It was paper thin. If it was the same quality that went into making the whole building, I was surprised it was still standing. I made a hole in the wall and carefully looked into the interstitial space that was there. An old man, all skin and bones, was wedged there, looking up at me with desperation. The color of his complexion made me think of an alien. What he said next, though, sent chills down my spine. "He's coming," the man whispered. Footsteps thudded from the hallway outside the room, thunderous like a giant. I went out and looked. At the very end of the hallway where it turned was a construction worker fully decked out in his jumpsuit, an orange vest and a yellow safety helmet. "What are you?" I muttered, my vision unable to focus clearly. From behind his back, he pulled out something. It was shiny. It looked like a saw. The man began to sprint towards me, like he was angry at me being there and I had discovered something I shouldn't have. In pure terror, I froze to the ground, unable to move. The thudding of his steel-toed boots were blows to my willpower. He was 50 feet away when I could see death in his eyes and blood on his saw. 30 feet now, 20, 10. I screamed for my life and blacked out. When I came to, I was thrashing as someone was restraining me. It was a police officer. I was still in that hallway on the 5th floor, but things looked normal now. No more red lights or markings on the wall. In the distance, a group of people were talking to the cops while the one restraining me kept telling me to calm down. What just happened? I thought as I was brought into custody. After a week went by and I had gotten myself together again, I learned a few things. Apparently, I had broken into a guest's room, number 515, and started tearing down the walls, screaming that someone was in there. Then I had raced back into the hallway and started screaming before blacking out. Concerned guests called the police, assuming I was on drugs or something, which was when they arrested me when they arrived on scene. Here's the crazy part. There really was a man inside the walls of room 515, but he was dead. Long since dead. The police launched a full investigation into the case, and what they found even shocked me. After a thorough search of Mayfield's best, over 20 additional bodies were found inside its walls. Some bodies were whole, others were broken into pieces as if they had been chopped up or had just fallen apart. All bodies were confirmed to be over 50 years old, which aligned up to the exact year that the Mayfield's best building was built. The police concluded that the crimes had been committed by someone involved in the construction process and used the opportunity to hide his victims' bodies inside the walls as the construction was being completed. The reason no one noticed the bodies at first was likely due to the fact that the building wasn't leased until 10 years after it was finished. All the bodies had largely decomposed by that point, at least to the point of being unnoticeable. How did I explain how I found the original body? I told the police what happened to me that night, my version of events, but not many people bought it, instead just relegating it to a stroke of luck happening after the mental breakdown of a man who didn't get much sleep that night. Luckily, I wasn't a suspect in their eyes. The crimes had happened like 50 years ago and I was only in my 30s. Thank goodness. But I will never forget that construction worker I saw. I knew it to be the killer. It had to be. But the police would never find or confirm any suspects. Was he still out there? Still alive? An old man laughing away his crimes? Or was he long since dead? Vanquished to a place to pay for his crimes? This I didn't know. But what I did know was that Mayfield's Best was getting a 1 star on Yelp.